Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and today we're going to be doing a Does It Still basketball of the Nike Kyrie 1. So the Kyrie 1 released in 2014 guys, so it's like 2023 now, so that's like 9 years ago, which is a long time. I've been doing this for a long time, I guess. Right, so yeah, 2014, I remember when it was first announced, and then of course the dream colorway came out and I was like, yo, that's so sick, you know what I mean? And I never got the copper pair because I actually don't know, just couldn't get a pair. Yeah, so it's one of my favorite colorways and also one of my favorite silhouettes of all time. That's like a grail. That's something that I really want. I don't really want to pay like $400 or $500 for it, so kind of sucks. But anyways, Does It Still basketball? It's a very old shoe from Nike, of course. It retailed for $110, you know, very budget shoe. And how does it compare to pretty much the latest Kyrie? And this is the last Kyrie that Nike is going to make because they parted ways, of course. Very curious to see who Kyrie signs with, and if he does sign with anyone or makes his own shoe company. I'm very excited for his next shoes, you know what I mean? Like he wants to design the shoe, you know? But anyways, let's take a look at the tech and see how it like kind of performs, comparing it to modern day shoes, you know? And maybe we can even throw in the Kyrie Infinity as well, you know what I mean? But anyways, let's get started off with the tracciones, and we have herringbone, a very aggressive herringbone traction pattern. By the way, this is a Nike ID. This is a It says Nike ID here. I don't know if you guys can see it. I remember the black Nike IDs. I miss that. The black insoles. They don't do that anymore. But anyway, sorry, the traction. So we have a very aggressive herringbone traction pattern, and the traction sucks. It's super inconsistent. If you're playing on a clean court though, it has a really nice bite, right? But then like you put a little bit of dust into that equation and it starts to suck pretty bad. The performance on dust is actually not good at all. You have to wipe a lot. It picks up dust very quickly, and also it's affected by dust a lot actually, you know what I mean? Like you slide around a good amount. I wouldn't say it's super dangerous, but it's just like not, I didn't enjoy playing in it on dust, you know what I mean? And like if you constantly wipe, and you do have to wipe a lot if you're playing on a like really dirty court, then I guess it's okay. But yeah, it was really annoying for me, you know what I mean? So if you're playing on an immaculate court, then it's great. But just if you're playing on a dusty court, probably not the best option. I have a good amount of colorways. Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 colorways of the Kyrie 1, and all of them not that great. So yeah, that sucks. As far as the durability goes, durability seems pretty good, and the rubber is overall pretty hard, and you have a lot of surface area. Look at how many grooves there are, you know? Grooves are super deep as well, so overall traction kind of disappointing, honestly. And also there is no outsole curvature, but you know, Leo Chang designed the shoe, and he knew that Kyrie does this a lot when he's playing because he does crazy crossovers and stuff. And he put more, you know, rubber extending here onto like the medial side of the shoe, right? So that's of course better if you're doing these types of movements, and you do get more grip, right? Compared to just like a flat shape. So that was a nice touch, and of course I absolutely love the teeth design. That's one of my favorite designs, you know what I mean? But it sucks because you can't really tell, you can't really see it that much in this colorway. But anyways, moving on to the heel to toe transition, it's all right, you know, it's overall pretty smooth, right? So you have a little bit of a curve shape here. You have a little bit of compression, just a tiny bit from the foam, like super stiff foam. And then you have a like very curved shape in the forefoot, and a little bit of forefoot flex. And that's the thing that I didn't like about old school Kyries. Like if you look at the Kyrie 1, 2, and 3, 4, like all of the like 5, 6, and also 7, they're super stiff here in the forefoot, right? I like to have a little bit more flex, you know? Like for example, even the Kyrie lows, super stiff, right? So I didn't really like that. But anyway, not a huge deal. It's just me nitpicking at that point. But overall, heel to toe transition is all right. You know, it's pretty smooth. And of course, the cushion is pretty not good. You know what I mean? So they're using Phylon, you know, or just a regular like generic foam, right? And when you first get it, It's pretty nice if I remember correctly, but then like, yeah, it bottoms out very quickly and it's very, very stiff, right? Here in the heel, it doesn't feel great. And also step-in comfort is trash, you know? So the insole's actually not that bad in the Nike IDs, right? It's just a regular ortholite insole. And then underneath that, we have a very, very, very stiff strobel board. And I feel like technology nowadays, you know, we have full-length zoom strobel in the forefoot, whatever, air strobel units, which I love. And then of course we have the mesh strobel boards, right? So I do love how we're kind of getting away from super stiff strobel boards, you know what I mean? But yeah, step-in comfort, underfoot cushioning, terrible. It's responsive. It's a responsive cushioning setup, and I guess you're low to the ground. I wouldn't say it's like the lowest to the ground feeling like cushioning setup either, but you still get good core feel, right? There is a forefoot zoom unit, I believe, somewhere in this shoe. Oh my god, what? I just noticed this. Look at that. No way. I'm sad. Anyways, yeah, you can't really feel the zoom unit. It's a rectangular zoom unit in the forefoot, if I remember correctly, and yeah, nothing great. You know, you can't really feel any type of like crazy compression or bounce. Not even a little bit, honestly. Just maybe very, very subtly. But yeah, nothing to write home about. You know what I mean? So the cushion, impact protection is terrible. It's uncomfortable. It's stiff. There's the cushioning setup, and of course, comparing it to new technologies like in the Kyrie Infinity, you know, you have softer foam, which they started using in like the older Kyries. Actually, no, just the Kyrie 8. The Kyrie Infinity, a little bit softer of a foam. It's actually like a little bit softer than the Kyrie ones, but not that much. But of course, we have the Zoom strobel unit in the 4foot 4, the Kyrie 8, and the Kyrie Infinity. So that's definitely an improvement. So there's that. Moving on to the materials. So also the materials are really they're not that nice. You know what I mean? If you guys remember, it's basically like a mesh, like a very open mesh, and then you have like hyperfuse or like another material underneath that, but it's like very, very heavily fused, especially here in the toe box, and it kind of extends like a lot into the toe box, like even here, right? It's actually like if you feel it here, it's kind of soft, you know, but like here where the fuse is like super stiff. So yeah, overall it felt like kind of stiff. It feels like super supportive though, like really, really supportive. There's not a whole lot of stretch to it and stuff like that, but it doesn't conform to your foot that well. You know what I mean? So not the best. And then also here in the midfoot, I guess it does stay like pretty thin, but it's really, really glued down. You know what I mean? So like comparing it to the Kyrie Infinity, look at that. Super soft, very thin, but also like a pretty supportive material. So that's definitely an upgrade. And I feel like they've been giving us better materials like for their modern shoes, you know what I mean? Especially comparing to hyperfuse. Just too much fuse, too much glue and stuff like that. So I like how they kind of moved away from that. For the tongue though, we have pretty nice padding, which feels nice. Not as padded as like the Kyrie Infinity, but we have like above average padding, right? It's also half booty construction tongue, which feels great, right? It's kind of like goes all the way here into the material. And look at that padding. Feels like pretty plush. And then also here in the ankle area, we have like above average padding as well. So it feels pretty damn comfortable and cozy here in the back of the shoe because of the extra padding, but like the material quality and how it feels on foot, especially here in the forefoot, isn't the best. Moving on to the fit. Also, the fit was like not the best for me because actually the fit was alright. It's just a containment like in the midfoot and heel area, which wasn't the best for me. But yeah, I went true to size and it fits very, very snug, like all Kyries usually do. You know what I mean? Like here in the toe box, it's snug. Lengthwise, I was good to go, and then widthwise, it's pretty narrow. So yeah, I mean, you know what though? I feel like old school shoes, especially Nikes, are really, really narrow and super duper tight in the toe box. Just because like, I've been playing like the KDs, like the old school KDs, like old school Kobe's, and also like the old school LeBrons, like the LeBron 9 and the LeBron 2, and it's just really, really narrow and also super stiff material, so it doesn't even stretch out that much, you know what I mean? Comparing it to like the Kyrie Infinity, which is a lot more relaxed and also wider, and also in the Kyrie 8, you know what I mean? So I guess that's a good thing, you know what I mean? Like you don't want shoes to be too narrow, because I don't know if you guys watch a dude called Squat University, but he kind of like explains why having super narrow fitting shoes is bad for your feet. If you look at LeBron's feet, I'm testing the LeBron 2s right now, and I kind of understand how LeBron's feet are so messed up, because it was just like super You know what I mean? Squeezing the hell out of his foot. But anyways, yeah. So there is the fit there. Moving on to support and lockdown. I mean, like, yeah, it's a Kyrie. And he's doing crazy crosses. You know, he needs all that lateral containment, lateral support. So material is super stiff and supportive, you know, especially where the fuse is in the forefoot. And also we have the rubber outsole coming up, acting as a sidewall. And then here in the heel, of course, we have this iconic spiky external heel counter. I actually don't remember what this was inspired by. I do remember this, the teeth was inspired by the Opera House, right? Sydney Opera House, if I remember correctly, if that's what it's called. But anyways, yeah, lateral support was really good, and also lateral stability. I didn't really have any issues, although like it doesn't really have an outrigger, right? Look at that. But overall, you're low to the ground. And also it is a mid cut, not the best for ankle support. However, you know, it is kind of thick though, and like overall like stiff. So like old school shoes, you know, they gave us pretty good ankle support, right? It's not, like I said, it's not the best, you know, comparing to like very high top shoes, but you know, you get pretty adequate ankle support in the Kyrie ones. But also like support in like lockdown in the heel wasn't the best for me. It wasn't like heel slippage, but I feel like maybe there's like a little bit of space here in like in this part of the heel or something, but like just didn't feel completely like locked down for me, you know what I mean? So that kind of sucked, but it wasn't like a deal breaker. It wasn't something that I absolutely hated. It's just something that I noticed, and it just made the shoe a little bit uncomfortable for me, you know? All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe. If I remember, I mean, it feels light. Okay, so 11.53 ounces. Let's check the other pair. 11.25 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So yeah, the Kyrie one is actually very, very light. But it doesn't feel like super light on foot, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on as far as the rubber outsole goes. It feels a little boot-like as well, just because this material is super stiff, and like the overall like silhouette and construction of the shoe is like kind of boot-like, you know what I mean? And also I felt really not responsive, not quick in the Kyrie ones, especially when I was playing on a dusty court. When I was playing on a clean court, I had zero issues, right? But dusty court, which is where I usually play on, because they never clean it's a brand new, it's not brand new, it's like a couple months, I feel like, since they refinished it, but they never clean it. So yeah, it's super dirty there, and it sucks. But anyways, yeah, so not my favorite Kyrie, definitely. I mean, performance-wise, I would say it's like not terrible, but also not great, you know what I mean? But looks wise, it's definitely one of my favorites in his entire line. So I guess segueing into aesthetics, yeah, I love it. There's a crazy amount of amazing colorways that came out for the Kyrie one as well. So yeah, tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, performance wise, the Kyrie ones are kind of you know what I mean? Like I remember playing in it, and even when it came out, and I was like, yeah, it's not nice, you know what I mean? And especially comparing it to like the newer Kyries, like the Kyrie 8, Kyrie Infinity, Kyrie 7. I feel like the Kyrie one is very, very subpar. You know what I mean? 110 bucks. Materials kind of the cushion sucks. The traction sucks. The fit, like the lockdown stuff, not the best. And even though it is a lighter shoe, it doesn't feel very responsive. You know what I mean? Also feels kind of boot-like because of the stiffer material and like the overall like shape of the upper, you know what I mean? So yeah, performance-wise, not the best. And like this is what Nike would give us, you know what I mean, for a new signature shoe. You know, even like the Zoom Freak 1, you know, Hyperfuse, really crappy material, stuff like that. So I'm very excited to see, you know, Devin Booker's shoe, and also John Morant's shoe, and also Jason Tatum's shoe, but that's not Nike, but John Morant's owned by Nike. But anyways, so yeah, performance, not the best. Does it still basketball? You know, it never really basketballed that well. I mean, it obviously basketballs, you know, it's not terrible, but there are a lot better shoes out there, you know, especially modern day, and also in its entire shoe line, there's a lot better shoes in my personal opinion. So yeah, it was just nice. It was nice to play in, right? I was like, yeah, let's play in the Kyrie ones again. Super excited, and I played in it. I was like, I'm not having a great time. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.